So guys, we're getting back into Injustice Year Zero, and this is actually issue number 8, and all you need to know going into issue number 8 is that Harley has left the Joker. That's it. The Joker dumped her off of like this ledge. He was like, hey, jump, because now the Joker has the amulet of Apophis, so he used his mind control to control Harley into jumping off of a ledge. So Harley's like, that's it, I'm going to meet up with Poison Ivy. This whole issue is about the Harley and Poison Ivy relationship, and Tom Taylor does a great job, guys, and I'll elaborate on all my thoughts later in the video. But for now, guys, let's dive into Injustice Year Zero, number 8. Injustice Year Zero, number 8 begins in Arkham. And we see this guy, he's just on his phone, he says, can I help you? And Harley Quinn walks in. And Harley says, I'm here to see a patient. And they say, Harley, and the guy says, what happened to your face? And Harley says, oh, Kenneth, you're always too kind, too inept for this job. And Kenneth says, thank you. And Harley says, look, there are 2 ways this can go down. And Kenneth says, can I skip ahead and choose the less painful way? And Harley says, that's a very good choice, Kenneth. Now, we see Harley, she goes to the cell of Poison Ivy. And Harley slaps a note on the glass. She says, in case a moment of clarity break glass. So that means that Harley and Ivy are reunited. Now, that's when Harley breaks out and pretty much breaks Ivy out of the cell. And Ivy says, did you have an exit strategy, Harles, or was this the end of the plan? And Harley says, you've always been my exit strategy, Red. And she pulls out flowers. Now, we see Poison Ivy and Harley, they start walking out of Arkham Asylum because Poison Ivy used her powers to pretty much take down all these guards, right? Now, that's when Ivy asks Harley, she's like, do you have a hideout? And Harley says, kinda. We took the old King Mansion on the corner of Williamson and Redondo. But, well, Mr. J is there. And Poison Ivy says, did he do this? And she sees a scar on Harley. And Harley says, we could go to my sister's. And Ivy says, I don't really want to play Happy Families, Harl. And Harley says, oh, come on. There's actually someone there I'd like you to meet. And Harley says, this is Lucy. And guys, you don't know Lucy. Lucy's actually Harley's daughter in the Injustice universe. Now, Poison Ivy says, oh, look, Carls, I'm not a huge fan of humans. Making them smaller doesn't make them more endearing. So I'm sure your niece is nice and all, but... And Harley says she's not. She's my daughter. And that's when Harley says, I know I asked a lot of you, but can you look out for Lucy? You know, do the usual things. Make sure she doesn't grow up too normal. Shower her with everything she could ever want or need. Punish anyone who hurts her. And Poison Ivy says, you can do all that. And Harley says, Red, I do have more lucid moments. I know the path I'm stuck on. One day I'm going to be staying next to Mr. J. And when things go wrong, and I'll be gone. And that's when Poison Ivy walks out. And Harley's like, Ivy, come back. And Harley says, hey, I didn't mean to scare you. It's okay. You don't have to look after her. Where are you going? Now, we see Joker in bed. And Joker wakes up. He's just sleeping. He's chilling, right? And it's like, Harley? And Poison Ivy walks in. She's like, no. And she uses her plants and gets a hold of Joker. But the amulet of Apophis falls out of the bed. Poison Ivy does not notice it. Now, that's when Joker's like, he's getting surrounded by all these plants. And Poison Ivy says, this is your only warning. If you ever hurt Harley again, I'll plant thorn things that will grow slowly through all your internal organs. And Joker says, you think you can threaten me? And Poison Ivy says, of course I can. You're not special. You're not exceptional. You're like every other pathetic troll, lashing out, hoping someone who's actually worth a damn will pay attention. Ivy continues and says, you want Batman to notice you, and he does. But not because you're worthy, not because he needs you. It's because he feels sorry for you. You're an object of pity for him. And Joker says, what are you talking about? And Poison Ivy says, and Harley feels the most pity for you. She looks at you and sees a sad, broken man who needs fixing. And Joker says, she'll still come crawling back. And Poison Ivy says, maybe. But every time she leaves, she gets further away. Every time you gaslight bullshit gets a little less effective. And that's when she pretty much starts releasing Joker in a way and says, Harley's special. She's managed to grow despite your rot. You know it. And she'll realize it one day. And Joker says, if you think you'll get away with this. So Joker's thinking like, hey, she's actually releasing me a little bit. I can get out. But that's when Ivy then straps him in even tighter. All these plants go around him. And Poison Ivy says, you're not in control. You'll wake up tomorrow because I allowed it. Because she'd never forgive me if you did. But you're not powerful. You're a joke. Now, that's when we shift in the morning. And we see Harley, she's pretty much eating with her daughter. And that's when Harley's sister says, your friend is loud. And we see a car come by. And Harley's like, huh? And Harley goes out of the door. She's like, you came back. And Ivy says, of course. And Harley says, I thought you. And Ivy says, want to get out of here? And Harley says, well, yeah, I'll say goodbye to Lucy. And then could we get way out of here? And Ivy's like, where are you thinking? And Harley's like, Vegas. Now we see him start driving to Vegas, and 2 hours goes by. Then 2 hours and 30 minutes goes by. And Harley's like, Vegas is a really long drive from Gotham. And Ivy says, yep. And Harley says, want to steal a plane? And Poison Ivy's like, yep. Now that's when we see them steal a plane. They're like, Vegas. They're all happy and they're flying in the stolen plane, guys. Now, that's when we see him show up to Vegas, and Ivy says, Harley, you're pretty smart. And Harley's like, thank you. And Ivy says, where do you see this ending? And Harley's like, I prefer not to. And Ivy says, please. And Harley says, I think you'll keep trying to save the plant from the people poisoning it. But you'll keep running up against the ignorant and greedy who can't see the good you're trying to do, or just don't care. Then they hold hands. And Harley says, I think you'll stay on your path of destruction, and I'll stay on my path of self-destruction. But you have mind control powers. You could just stop me. And Poison Ivy says, I would never do that to you. And Harley looks down, and she says, I know. Now we shift it later, and Harley's just gambling, right? She's like, it just took more of my money. And this old lady says, yes, that's what it does most of the time. You need to line up 4 of a kind. Then Harley says, and when does the sense of community and emotional fulfillment kick in? And the old woman says, And Harley says, don't worry, Brenda. And that's when the old lady says, you here alone? And Harley says, no, but my friend didn't want to break out of an asylum just to spend her whole day surrounded by more people with problems. And that's when Harley says, no offense. And that's when the old lady says, oh hey, 3 jokers, 1 more on you. So there's a 3 joker reference. That's when Harley says, Brenda, you may want to take a step back. I'm about to take out some frustration. And she starts hitting the gambling thing and just takes it down, like destroys it. Now we see her walk into a room and she says, Red, I know you didn't want to join me, but look, I won all this money just by smashing open a machine and running faster with the security guards. That's when she drops all the money. And she's like, what the hell is happening here? And she sees Poison Ivy in a green dress and all these different people around. And Ivy says, we don't have to stay on our paths. We can step off together. We can break the glass. We can be each other's exit strategy. Dr. Harley Quinzel, will you marry me? She pulls out a flower, and Harley says, oh yeah. That's when we see Harley and Poison Ivy, they kiss, and they're married. And that's how we close out this issue. So guys, this issue was pretty great. I liked it. It was great seeing Poison Ivy, for one, get broken out of Arkham Asylum by Harley. That whole opening scene was great, guys. I like seeing Harley show up, meet with this guy, this one worker at Arkham Asylum, Kenneth, and he's like, hey, whatever choice you give me that's not painful, yeah, I'll choose that, which is smart. If I was in that guy's situation, I was like, yeah, just go do what you gotta do. So Harley breaks Poison Ivy out, and then we see Harley and Poison Ivy meet pretty much Lucy. Well, Harley's already met Lucy, but Ivy meets Lucy for the first time. Now, Lucy is Harley's daughter in the Injustice universe. If you guys don't remember, in Injustice 2, I think, Harley pretty much got pregnant by Joker, and Joker pretty much told Harley to, hey, take your time, go away for a year. Harley left for a year, had the baby, named it Lucy, gave it to her sister. Then Harley showed up with the Joker once again. Joker just acted like nothing happened. Joker just pressed on. She shows how Joker doesn't care, but how it really puts pain on Harley. Now, Poison Ivy notices this, and I really like the scene where Poison Ivy shows up to the Joker's like hideout in a way, and you see him just chilling in bed. He's sleeping, and Poison Ivy just wraps him up in her pretty much vines or all these plants and tells him, hey, you're just a joke. You're not very powerful. If I had the chance to, I would kill you. And yes, right now I do have the chance to, but I'm not going to do it because Harley wouldn't forgive me for it. Which, I don't know. I feel like Harley would be cool with it. I get Harley keeps coming back to Joker, but I feel like Harley would be more cool with it because now she never have to go through that pain again. But Ivy doesn't know that. Ivy's trying to just play it safe, right? Now, toward the end of the issue, we see Ivy and Harley just talking about their relationship. I just really like how Tom Taylor writes this whole scene in Vegas where they're like, hey, where's this end? Where's our relationship go? And Tom Taylor just finds some way to make these character moments very strong and powerful. The issue ends kind of like predictable. Yes, Poison Ivy and Harley get married. We kind of saw that coming, but I thought it was really well done, and the artwork was amazing, guys. So yeah, if you're a very big Harley and Ivy fan, if you like that relationship, you'll love this issue. And also, just Tom Taylor writes the issue very well. It's not a very important chapter in Injustice Year Zero, but it's a very good one nonetheless. And that's why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, guys. I definitely recommend it. Check it out. And yeah, guys, the comments below to that about the situation you loved, you hit. And actually, I'll link down below my playlist of all the other Injustice videos if you haven't watched them yet. I'm pretty sure you have if you're watching this one. But in case you missed any of the other issues, check them out, because I'm pretty sure next issue will go back to the main plot, and you'll have to know everything that's come before. But yeah, guys, like the video, give a big thumbs up, and you show me subscribe to my next Injustice Year Zero video. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.